Time, Angel, for us to have our beautiful featured speaker with us today, someone who I absolutely adore and have the highest level of respect with. So let me introduce you to a woman who is wise, has set the stage for a different way of thinking and paradigm around the wealth of being a healthy person and a healthy body, from a very, very deep, steep tradition of Ayurveda. And I know that if you don't know what that word means, you will by the time that we finish this conversation. Jaisri Lambert is an Ayurvedic doctor, and you may not know what it takes to be able to hold that title, but it takes a lot. She is very well respected. In the last Ayurvedic conference that I went to, just the conversations around, going to, lucky me, she lives in Canada. She came here many years ago because of her father, and just her movement to work with the Canadian government to try to get herbs into our country so that we can have better sustainability of health. And so someone who not only just is deeply inspired and motivated about what they do, but also making a change in the movement of the accessibility of that. That's I believe accessibility is a very big deal for women, having accessibility, because there's many places still today where accessibility to many things is not available. So I think I never take accessibility for granted. I get to study. I get to read a book. I get to go on a plane. I get to call people. I get to have a voice. Sometimes that voice is small, but at least I can go to an organization and talk about how I didn't get to have a bigger one, right? And Dr. Paula Gordon talked about that a lot last month around, breast health and the movement of breast health and what that was about, and the accessibility and the lack of accessibility to be able to have what you need for your own breast health in different countries, different times, and different things. But Dr. Jaisri Lambert is going to talk to us today about Ayurveda. And if you've never heard about this beautiful, holistic form of healing, really, I hope that you're inspired today and you want to dig more. So Jaisri, thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm delighted at this beautiful invitation, and I'm inspired to take one moment before we jump into our dialogue today to do remembrance of my teacher, Dr. Ladd, who always begins any auspicious conversation with a little prayer. So this is a traditional prayer in Sanskrit, and it'll help us to attune to that very ancient conversation that we're about to share. Shall we?
Absolutely.
Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamastravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanasvatanaha Shrunvanu Kibihi Siddhasadanam Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Siddhi Buddhi Shakti Sahita Shriman Mahaganadipataye Namo Namaha Nirvignam Kuru. So this is the prayer to Ganesh, the Ishta Devata of my teacher, and therefore the tradition of dedicating every conversation of this nature to this ancient stream that we're about to share together in this modern forum. Thanks to Deb. I totally thank you, admire you, hold you in great respect. This forum, everything you've done until now, which is many years of friendship and supporting one another, empowering one another, trying to put into practice our walk and talk together, aligned for our access to knowledge, access to services, access to support systems, access to understanding. So no doubt, jumping into these last 25 years of internet, I'm 76 now, so I'm on the other end of the scale, but having, thank God, lots of vitality thanks to Ayurveda. And Ayurveda, as Deb mentioned, is the world's oldest holistic medical science. Ayu meaning life. Very interesting. If you hear Ayu, it's very feminine, no consonants. Ayu, all vowels. Ayu, life, we know is lavi, feminine, to do with maternity, to do with the feminine principle, to do with sustaining life, communication, to do with the very genetics and the very education of our moment to moment since conception, gestation, birth, of course, being very significant, but because it indicates our prakriti and vikruti. Prakriti means our constitutional nature from the genetic factor. And we are born at this time, which is very interesting. We weren't born or having this conversation in the 1600s. We're doing it now. We're not doing it in 2049 either. So this present becomes very important. It does relate to past, it does relate to future, but this needs of the moment, needs of our daily life to support personal health, family health, community health, and even public health. So Ayurveda, second part of this, Ayu, meaning life, Veda, second part Veda, means knowledge, systematized knowledge, meaning a science. So it's a science of all of life. So I call it a pure scientist, a pure science. So I call myself a pure scientist, means, a so-called pure scientist. My father was an engineer. So he felt he was a pure scientist, right? 1 + 1. So he did not believe in a thereafter. I happened to have the great privilege of doing his end-of-life care. And he didn't believe in any life thereafter. So we used to joke, I used to say, haha, you'll see. And of course, since then, he's given me many messages and guidances from the beyond, both parents and all our ancestries as well. So I think this importance of the now and this very conversation, Deb, about stepping up. To step up, we really need health. So the framework of life, Ayurveda says that the dinacharya, the daily routine, is to be highly studied and highly understood, and the means of alignment. So not only for career, but our prakriti, our constitutional nature, maybe we're suited to be artist and not rote person. Depends what our particular strengths are. Our combination of vata, air and ether element, pitta, fire element, water element, and kapha, earth and water elements. These combinations and permutations will describe our psychobiology. And as a perfect science, a science that existed before humanity, very interesting that we have searched for this book, so-called Book of Life. It has existed all along since prior, except that because Western civilization is very sort of Greco-Roman centered, feeling that the history of humanity is related to Western development and has not really regarded Asian or Polynesian or so many histories of the past have been disregarded. But because today is such a melting pot, now we're seeing the entire picture of the needs for global health. We just got through this pandemic. Oh my God, what did we learn with that? Both negative and positive. But the idea is that this discrimination that we've had to go through that, draw strength from it. All of you here, all of you watching later, are going to have that very feeling, to have that instinct to draw strength from this adversity. So it's still providing us plenty of opportunity for it because of the terrible fallout. But one of the benefits is that we have turned to historical systems of medicine. So we've seen tremendous faith lost, nosedive in the modern medical, pharmaceutical based, chemically based system, which is highly politicized, highly heavy-handed, and actually not very effective. And this is the real problem, is the efficacy. So this is how we will win in the end, because Ayurveda is older than humanity, so it will survive humanity, no problem. But this current system has to soften. It must take care of the elderly in a better way, a more scientific way, a more informed way, a more love-based, if I can say it, as a pure science, as the ultimate scientific statement from Einstein, E equals mc squared. What statement could be more spiritual, more pointed on the light and the love? So it shows this science, art, really, we have to see it as one. And God willing, we women, we do see it as one. We are that yin and yang together that has not only gumption, but also softness. So the softness is what allows us to perceive our own nature, perceive the nature of the other guy, so that we can have space for more compassion, more forgiveness, more understanding, more acceptance of the person as they are. And this knowledge is provided through the Prakriti and Vikruti, knowing our constitutional nature, knowing what happened during the pregnancy, the birth. Some lived through Holocaust, some lived through drug addiction, some lived through moving, uprooting. So many experiences then are recorded and becomes Vikruti, the current constitutional experience. Now, are you having symptoms? Are you having pain? Are you happy? Are you functioning? Are you at your optimum? If you're not at your optimum, then let's go back always and look to basics. What is my Prakriti and Vikruti, my constitutional nature? What is just right for me from morning till evening? What do I need to sustain this system? Bedtime, lunchtime. These things become very important, not just frills or afterthoughts. These have to become the actual pillars of day-to-day life. Early to rise, of course, because that early morning sunrise is going to give that empowerment of Surya, right? To face the east, have the first rays, if at all possible, enter through the closed eyelids and empower the nervous system through this big important nerve called the eyeball. Ayurveda deems it to be part of the nervous system. It's a very important nerve because it relates to our perception, our vision, our self-image, self-talk. And, this is such a critical examination in our business development, is seeing what are the obstacles, and what they come from our own mind. So there we have to sit with it in meditation and solve it. And lo and behold, it's simpler than we thought. Just by taking that early morning meditation, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes, take that time, stillness of mind and body. And in that stillness comes the knowing, and in the knowing comes the right guidance, because we're in touch with the light. We're in touch with those particles that are our body. It's a perishable thing. It's made of flesh. It has a temporary role, a spiritual role, right, for self-realization, God realization. This is the Ayurveda concept. So that in that spiritual goal of life, to know oneself, know joy, know peace, to know contentment, all spiritual qualities. And if that's the purpose of life, and our profession is our personal means of expressing our unique talents, abilities, skills, interests, the whole, how would I say, composite of who we are, the whole current you, then as an integrated person, can make the most out of life, avoid frustrations, avoid forgetfulness of self-care and such basic mistakes that we all make sooner or later, or once upon a time, and then come to rely again on the daily routine to get back to normal. Whatever we need, most of the time, rest will do it. So as a little introduction, Deb, thank you for inviting me to be here.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's so much beauty and so much history in Ayurveda. I love that it's, considered the science of life. I always say when it comes to Ayurveda that because I've studied Ayurveda, not like Jaisri, but certainly have studied and did Ayurvedic treatments. And it was like, the more I studied, the less I knew. I always say it was the one study in my life where the more I studied, the more I realized I knew, but then I didn't know, and I knew and I didn't know. And one of the things that I'm very grateful for as a healing modality is bringing it back to the simple practices. I mean, recently I called Jaisri and I have had something that I needed to talk with her in regards to my health. And so listening to her talk, it was like a little light bulb. It's like, when do you get hungry during the day? And I'm like, I don't know, because I'm a snacker and I eat, and I'm like, I don't know, 2:30. She's like, that's your lunchtime. And I was like, all right, that's right. I mean, I think that we're human and we just forget. I feel out of sync. My body's not in sync, and so, well, yeah, it'd be kind of nice if I kind of had lunch maybe at the same time. That would be something that, so because I heard it loud when she talked, I knew I needed it. Right? I think we hear what we need to know. Look, Ayurveda predominantly, I'd love for you to talk about how you got into Ayurveda, because it was not something that necessarily was, a lot of women got into Ayurveda. I mean, you are quite profound and quite unique in your ability and your skill, and just holding the position that you do. So what is it like, and what was it like?
Oh, you're very kind. It's just been honestly digging one well, putting one foot in front of the other. It was not an ambition to become an Ayurveda doctor, but I came to Ayurveda as a pretty sick puppy. I was in my mid-30s at the time, so about 40-ish years ago now. And I had a history of migraine, and that had been generational as far back as we could track in all the females. And so there was hormonal imbalance. There was tremendous, influence of belief systems on women and women's limitations and women's objectivity. So without going into a lot of detail, but everybody has abuse in the family history somewhere. And so we all have to deal with it at a certain point and come out and find, where is my creativity? Where is my self-expression? How can I make the best of this life? So here was me with migraine. I was a teacher. I was moving from the public school system of federal Canadian government. I was employed because I'm bilingual, French and English, so they promote you when you have French as a second language. So I got promoted a lot in that job, but then it was realizing it really wasn't me. So I wanted to go into a teaching, which was a convenient job for my children at the time. I could pick them up at 3. Then I was still getting the migraines. I still didn't have the basics of Ayurveda, the 5 elements: ether, air, fire, water, earth, as this Vata, Pitta, Kapha. I didn't have that language to help me. And anybody who grows up in the West, Asian born person will grow up with knowledge of air element, fire element, water element, earth element, metal. This is integrated into the culture, but not so much here. That's why it seems foreign to us. But really, it's not at all foreign. It is the basis of our actual construction, our actual makeup, our actual, what happens when we're born and die. So this very temporary thing called the human body, which has a name, so we give it a lot of importance. It has a birthday and it has destiny in between. So this destiny has no doubt brought us together and has also helped us to be prepared by opening the ear, so this word Ayurveda will reverberate now. You'll see going from here, oh, how pervasive is it outside of this Turtle Island? And even, of course, the original medicine of our native indigenous peoples are based in these 5 elements, expressed differently. That's why each person expressing uniquely must be and must have confidence that you are in the right place at the right time. I think it's a very important thing on our journey. Certainly my journey, to affirm again and again, when nobody had heard that word Ayurveda, when I was sort of out there like I don't know, an echo in the valley, kind of, that you just have to keep on being true to yourself. You have to keep on knowing that there is a unique purpose. And I was always attracted to herbs and herbal medicine. Once I had a job as a tree planter, single mother, you do lots of different jobs. So here is me, tree planter, northern BC. So I was making enough money, but it was going up very early morning, insufficient hydration. So what do you know, one morning on the hill, your helicopter's gone, your transportation's gone, and you're up there. And I had a tremendous migraine come on, which was my history. So I prayed and saw a plant in the distance. A little girl, she beckoned me. She was kind of waving. There was no breeze, but she was having a little breeze about her. So I went over there, talked to her. She said, taste to me. So I tasted. It was very, very bitter. And from my later study of chemistry, according to Ayurveda, I understood that bitter taste was antipyretic, so it brought down fever, temperature, it brought down the pulsation, and immediately that, as that plant sap, just not even one drop touched my tongue, it immediately dispelled the headache. Now, that was long before I started to later study to realize that, oh, that's what bitter taste does. It destroys parasites, it's vasoconstricting, and has other medicinal properties as far as blood purification, liver purification, etc. So it's very foundational. But these important points of, say, the 6 tastes, sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, astringent, I had no idea. So developing through that time, because of my own illness, trying to solve that, which I did within a couple of years, because I was stubborn and would not follow the program in the beginning. The girl here, a little fiery and little, I don't like bitter taste. So it took me a while, but after some time, a couple of years, got with the program, and no migraine since, and certainly no other diseases of my mother's genetic footprint, which had been up to then, mid-30s, every single disease she had at the very same age. What do you know? I had it. I looked like her. Everyone said, you are your mother's daughter. And so there it was. But after 36, I've had 0 of her genetic influences, not cancer, not any. And believe me, there were many. So especially in mental health. So I would say, from my point of view, Deb, to answer your question, why, a lot of it, other than my own migraine headache situation, was my mother's mental health, and growing up with a mentally ill mother, and really seeking to understand mental health as pretty much a desperation of my soul, to try to understand how to induce mental health, happiness, contentment. So I had to study for that. I had to study Ayurveda and the related sciences.
Wow. Isn't it interesting how many times it's our story? And I love that you talked about that genetic piece, because people talk about it, but I don't think I don't want to say embrace it, but sometimes bring it into the picture. Like, sometimes things that are going on for us cannot be of us, right? It can be genetic as much as a belief system is, right? And it can carry forward. I know that we've talked about that, and I've done, even meditations are super powerful around that. So you found Ayurveda, and single mom, and I mean, I recently heard of, well, I've heard of Ayurveda for the last 20 something years, but there's times where people are hearing it for the first time. Like you said, it wasn't part of, it certainly wasn't part of my Western way of being raised. And other than my mom would stick a clove on my tooth if I had a toothache, right? We have these little things that people used to do. When did you decide to embrace it fully and make it part of what you do every day?
I don't know that I could identify a moment for that, except at the very beginning. In the very beginning, when I went to listen to my teacher, Dr. Ladd, I had to drive from Vancouver to Santa Cruz, California. So a couple of days drive. And I would say I could not have figured it out on my own. I had to listen to the classes, the structure, the lectures, the explanations of how the cosmology is organized, and then implement through meditation practice, I would say, as the single most important investment for me, is to take it all in, try to churn it, try to digest it, try to figure out what I needed, try to figure out as well how I could see my own limiting core beliefs from this very genetic pattern, the acculturalization from my parents and beyond, and to see, look, which ones now, I'm about to be a grown-up here. This was my process, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to decide on my own core beliefs. I have to decide on who I am. And I'll tell you what I'm not, is I'm not a sick patient for the rest of my life trying to manipulate my way out of responsibility. Do you see? So we're all different. We have a destiny to overcome perhaps a familial pattern, but it is in the awareness that we will see all of it, I believe, Deb. There's nothing that is precipitating as a symptom that is not first originating in that psycho-spiritual level. So there would be a misunderstanding. I'm not good enough. There would be because I was told so from outside, right? So meditation takes us inside for our true empowerment. This is the only place we're truly empowered to say, okay, who am I? Who am I not? What is this? What's going on for me? What is my experience right now at this moment? And how can I meet the needs of my life? Meet the needs for proper food and nutrition, meet the needs for a proper supportive clientele, meet the needs for sufficient time to myself for donation, for travel, rest, self-care, like that. So really to be firm with myself, because I was a very obstinate person, very opinionated, and even very cynical, I have to say. So many things have changed in terms of the causative factors of my psychobiology and the current picture some 40 years later.
Yeah. Well, I love that when we talk, and even I was having this health consult with you not too long ago, last week, 2 days ago, what have you. And there's always a message in your reply of everything is perfect. So even though I could say everything's not perfect, or I would be calling, but there's everything perfect. And I think there's some solace in that when you're like, okay, things are happening for a reason. For people that don't understand the depth of Ayurveda, maybe you can just share, when would someone go to a Ayurvedic practitioner, and what would someone go to an Ayurvedic practitioner for? And I know we can say everything, but
Yeah, no, I think when we have a symptom, we know it right away. But do we have that self-respect, that self-love? Do we have a pre-existing decision to put ourself first? What if that mother isn't healthy? How healthy is that family? Or if the sister, cousin is having health issues? No, it's a problem that does belong to all of us. So many times people will hide it. So that's the first thing. We have a culture of hiding, pretending. Oh, it's there's the famous sign on the chiropractor's wall saying, oh, I thought it would go away. So why don't we? Lots of reasons. I'm too busy. Too busy? What? Yeah. So then we have to, you see, meditation gives us that worldview each morning. These 24 hours belong to everyone. How are we all going to make the most of it? What is it in my actions, thoughts, and decisions that can be the most beneficial and give most satisfaction to my early commitment to simply do better?
Well, yeah, Angel's like, yeah, I'm like, Angel.
Right. I think that it's so mindful, right? Like so much of what we are doing is just in reaction mode and we're just going, but this is so intentional, right? And very mindful. I mean, I think, we all had our moms do some different, natural healing kind of things growing up. But what tends to happen is if this tea works for this, like we over commercialize it, right? It like just becomes, and I don't know if that's just a Western thing, but there's elements to all of the things that you've talked about today that I think we've all been introduced to in some fashion or another. But then it just kind of gets commercialized and then takes away from the mindfulness of that. Does that make sense?
I think so. I believe in the be your own doctor concept. I believe that we need to nip it in the bud as soon as we notice it. Oh, I didn't sleep enough last night. Okay, so if that goes on 30, 60, 90 nights, now you've got a symptom. Okay, but go back to your sleep balance. Sleep, appetite, elimination. Those three. Do I have enough sleep? Am I going to bed early enough? If I'm going to bed early enough, then I'm going to wake up before sunrise.
Oh, I can't remember the last time.
Okay, we gotta talk about that. But
because look, if we miss sunrise, this critical, very spiritual moment of the day, then for our dedications, our commitments, our affirmations for the moment, our intentions for the day, then we would have missed the most ideal moments. So like knowing that, okay, so now we're motivated to get up and to therefore go to bed early. So it's not a pain or strain. So it's like, oh, darn it, I feel so tired. I'm going to bed earlier now, but I just can't get to sleep. So, our patterns of mind will divide you from your best interest. And so that's why the meditation first and last, because then we can make sound food choices, friendship choices, timing choices for the schedule. I've seen so many women, the schedule will be busy from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I was that girl back in the 90s. So
no, you know what I love? And this is going to be this nice balance between, this will be the tridosha of what you just said, Angel, about this, peppermint's great for the digestion. Then everyone like that has a digestion issue drink peppermint. But in Ayurveda, what I love, and it was a nice reminder, this week with you is peppermint great for my digestion? And in Ayurveda, you say, do you want to say it or should I?
You go ahead. You've got the good memory for it.
No, but I have to teach brain health after this. So, Ayurveda talks about is it the right thing for you at this time? And when you said that, I was like, that's exactly it as well. Having the knowingness or going to someone who can reflect back to you, is it good for me at this time? Yes, peppermint is great for digestion, but is it, right now, is it too fire for me? Is it serving me at this time? Because peppermint does serve, herbs do serve, but is it serving you in the way that you need to be served? And I know it sounds maybe a little complicated, but I think when you said to me in one of the emails, trust your eyes, I knew exactly what you meant. And as I walk down, and I think we can all do it, as you walk down a grocery store, for me, it was about food, but walk down a grocery store, I always am so blessed and so grateful. Blair talked about gratitude. I am so grateful. I have 2 markets literally within 2 blocks of me each way that I can go daily if I want to and let my body tell me what I need to eat. I mean, what a frigging blessing that is. But when you said trust your eyes, I was looking different down the grocery aisle. I was looking at my schedule differently. I was making decisions based on, okay, really see, is this right for you at this time with this dosage or whatever?
I call that the ultravision. Ultravision is what we need to see beyond the evidence, because cause and effect, if in a symptom, we need to remove the symptom, then we need to remove the cause, I should say. Then we have to really track that symptom back, the effect. We have to track it back to its cause. We will know it by simply pondering it, thinking about it, being honest about it within our little private place where nobody's watching our thoughts. And just do that discrimination, that God-given capacity that we have to know for sure and certain what the truth is for us, and integrate with it, live up to it. And I think that will solve pretty much all the health issues, so that when you're strong and radiant, the business decisions, the ethical foundation of what we're trying to do in the world is strengthened. So to me, it's a question of being able to put our body and mind in service of these, not just suffering humanity, but the improvements and upliftments and sustainabilities and evolutions that we want to stand for and support and nourish. Then fortunately, Ayurveda has given the proper guidance for each person. It's not that difficult to find how to follow one's own program now. I think if we need a practitioner, it's because a disease is really developed. It may be a relative, maybe not you, just to get back to basics around self-care. So Ayurveda does have the full manual of self-care for each and every person. It's quite wonderful. So I think that would be where a person would start, in home remedies, in understanding one's own food program. If they need help, fine, go to a practitioner. There is a saying in Ayurveda, unfortunately, the doctor is always employed. So, right, we want you out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I know that oh, go ahead.
Oh, just your family too. That's who we worry about, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
I know we're kind of coming to a close, and I want to talk about the great work that you're doing. I mean, again, we're fortunate, and there's many incredible people doing incredible work in the world of Ayurveda in the world. And Jaisri has many people that she has passed her gift on to that are now continuing her gift in doing what she's done. But one of the things that you have stayed strong and true to is to the accessibility of education around Ayurveda, so that all of us can hear something different and live differently. You've created a foundation called CARE. Mm-hmm. Maybe share with us a little bit about that. Sarah's eyes just popped up. Sarah's local. She's calling you.
Okay. Hi, Sarah. It's so great to meet all the people in this forum. Yeah. The continuing education has been a thing of mine even since being a French teacher. So that's pretty much all along. Now, because I do believe it's thrilling to learn. I love to learn, and a day is not satisfying without learning. So yes, this CARE Foundation, Canada Ayurveda Research and Education Foundation. Now, you see, when I was 68, some years back, I had a recognition that, my massage therapy days, bodywork days, hands-on healing days, it had been over 30 years. So I go, okay, look at, I'm moving. I have to be inspired to the next generation now. And so this Canada Ayurveda Research and Education Foundation, CARE Foundation, it is a federally registered nonprofit since 2017. We have 4 goals. Our current one is to unfold the Ayurveda Elder Home Care Aid training program, so that the home care aide is a nature-based person and not a pharmaceutically based person. Then other one is to classify our local medicinal herbs according to the science of Ayurveda, which includes, I'm going to throw some terms, Sanskrit terms at you now, the Rasa, Virya, Vipak, and Prabha. These are the classifications of the herbs. Herbal science has been around a long time. It's nothing new. In fact, Latin nomenclature is relatively recent. So we have to learn the plant from its taste on the tongue of those 6, the Virya thermal effect, the post-digestive effect, and the exception to the rule, all the details around when to harvest, what are the cautions, contraindications, all that. So that has not been done with Western plants. British Columbia government has done publications on local herbal medicinal plants, but they are not according to this detail. So that future student can pick up the manual and know that plant just by recognizing the drawing or outline or photograph or whatever kind of memory banks they'll have in those days for technology. The idea is that this self-education, we can pick up a book. There are so many websites, my website, there's all my articles are there for free, by the way. I don't charge for downloading the free articles or passing them on. Many useful topics like fibroids or migraine or different things. Anyway, you can check that out. But getting back to the other projects that we have is to create a portal for research, Ayurveda research worldwide, so that any doctor in Canada can click on this and see the entire enormity of research. They claim there's no research on Ayurveda. Yeah, 10,000 years old. Yeah, so it just shows the ignorance, but here we need to have a little bit of a silver platter and try to say, okay, here's the link, you just click away and you'll have the enormity of very refined, subtle, excellent. In fact, I think that those scientists in India working in research in Ayurveda at present are in a very sophisticated level worldwide. So part of those, some of those are posted on the website or Facebook page, so those may be of interest to people as well. But this CARE Foundation is my nonprofit activity going forward. So these 4 projects are now very much involved in continuing education, even though 1 or 2 of them are called research, like MS and Ayurveda, multiple sclerosis and Ayurveda. We already have a lot online for free on MS and Ayurveda, those with neuromuscular diseases.
Well, I feel, I mean, every time a woman shares, I feel full in that sector. And so I feel full. I feel remembered. You know, the one thing for me around Ayurveda, I remember when I first started to learn about Ayurveda, and if you're in that place right now and you're hearing it, I just knew I needed to hear more. It made me hungry, right? Listening to Ayurveda, it made me hungry. I wanted more and more information. And it was interesting. I was studying at UBC. I was studying Chinese medicine, and I was like, nothing against Chinese medicine. There was just something. And then I took 1 class in Ayurveda, and I was like, I'm hungry for more. So if that's you and you've been inspired to study more, please do. Jaisri, we will be sharing all of your information, and if people want to support the CARE Foundation and all of that, we will be sending out. And yay, Elena, thank you very much for putting that in the chat box there. Angel, do you have anything else that you'd like to add before we?
Oh, but you know, I had never heard of Ayurveda, or I hadn't really noticed if I'd heard of Ayurveda, but I know Deb talks about it a lot. And there are like so many different things. And as you know, as you're discovering, like, okay, which one should I follow, and what trend should I do, and what makes sense? This one just feels really grounded in like your intuition, right? Like you said, like trust your eyes every morning, to have that grounding intention, the stillness that brings the knowing, that brings the guidance. And I think there are times where we felt like, okay, I feel like it's this, I feel like I have this nudging, and this feels very much like our body, our body has the answer. The body knows what it needs. The body wants to heal. The body, and if we would just really go in, or, be more mindful and trust that, yeah, we don't listen. And so I think like that's a whole practice right there. Even so, this was very insightful for me, and then just eye-opening. And again, as we talk about this day coming together every day on the 8th day, giving ourselves permission to be still for an entire day. I mean, like, how many of you are chomping at the bit, right? Anxious and looking at, right? Are there stuff coming at us, right? And Sarah's got this. Sarah's like Zen, right? She's like, I got this. She comes in cool as a cucumber, right? So if we all need to be more like Sarah, right? What would Sarah do? How would Sarah respond? Anyways, what I want to say is thank you. Again, and thank you, Deb. Like, you bring in, so often we go to summits, and and it's a lot of the same, right? And nothing wrong with those of us who are speakers and on the multiple speaker circuit and getting on lots of stages, but you just open our eyes and you bring in so much opportunity to women we would never normally have access to. We would never normally see. These aren't, I mean, we're not seeing Jaisri on, the speaker circuit. She's not on 100 stages, right? She's just doing her really beautiful thing. And so thank you, Deb, and thank you, Jaisri, for just answering her and saying yes and coming to serve us today.
All right. Jaisri, is there anything else that you want to say before we say good evening?
Honestly, these intimate conversations are so special to me. And honestly, each and every person, whether you've spoken or not, you're so much in my heart. And I just give thanks for this opportunity for you, and let Ayurveda bless you. It's not anything to do with me. I happen to be the fortunate one who's been blessed by her, but anyone can. So she's showering her benediction from above, below, all around. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. What a beautiful time that we spent together. Thank you so much.